These brain conditions are extremely rare, but for the few people who experience them, they feel completely real. Accuracy matters to us. Sources and data are listed in the description. Alien hand syndrome. I reach for my soda, then my other hand grabs it first. Sometimes it unbuttons my shirt while I'm trying to get dressed. Sometimes it pushes objects off the table. I try to stop it with my good hand. I pin it under my thigh on the bus. One time, it tore a page out of a book I was reading. At night, I tuck it under the blanket so it cannot wander. People laugh and say I'm joking. I'm not joking. This hand feels like it has its own plan. Doctors say the connection that keeps both sides of my brain in agreement has been damaged. The hand is still mine in every medical sense. It just will not take orders from me. Living with it means planning around a limb that argues back. So, one hand keeps acting without me. I can see it. I can feel it. But I cannot own the decision. Prosopagnosia. A coworker walks toward me in the hallway. I smile, the way you smile at someone familiar, then I realize I have no idea who they are. I know voices, I know the way someone walks, but faces do not stick. Even my own face in the mirror can take a second. It is not that people look blurry, I can see every detail. My brain just will not turn those details into a person I recognize, so I wait for context. A name badge, a usual seat, a familiar jacket. I once walked past my sister at a station. I only knew it was her when she said my name. Family dinners are full of quiet guessing. Without context, the world is full of strangers who should not be strangers. Akinetopsia. A car is in the distance. Then it is suddenly close. I did not see it travel. I saw it jump. Pouring tea is almost impossible. The liquid appears in broken steps instead of a smooth stream. People walking toward me look like a flip book with missing pages. Catching a ball feels like magic I cannot learn. I miss handshakes because the hand is suddenly already there. Crossing a street takes twice the caution. I am not dizzy, I'm awake. My brain has lost the ability to stitch motion together, so the world updates in sudden still frames. I flinch at things that were already moving, and I freeze at gaps where movement should be. Hemispatial neglect. I eat only the food on the right side of my plate. I dress only the right arm. When someone stands on my left, they can disappear from my world. It is not that I am blind on that side. If you force my attention there, I can notice things. But on my own, the left half of space barely exists. I bump into door frames. I ignore half a page while reading. I shave only one side of my face until someone stops me. Drawings I make leave the left side empty without me noticing. My brain has stopped checking one side of reality, so that side goes quiet. Blindsight. Doctors cover the eye that still works and test the blind field. They ask me to guess where a light is. I say I see nothing. Then I point in the right direction. Anyway, I can avoid obstacles. I swear I cannot see. I dodge a chair in a hallway and cannot explain how. It feels like guessing, but my guesses keep landing. Somewhere in my brain, visual information is still arriving. It just never becomes a picture I can consciously watch. So I live with a strange split, blind to myself, useful in the dark corners of my vision anyway. Anton Syndrome. I walk into a chair. People ask why I did not see it. I say the room is fine. I say I can see everything. But I cannot. My eyes and visual brain have failed. And instead of noticing the blindness, my mind invents a visual world. I confabulate details with total confidence. I describe colors that are not there. I insist the lights are on when they are not. I argue with nurses about the view out a window. I can hear the doubt in their voices. The terrifying part is not the blindness alone. It is that I do not know I'm blind. Visual agnosia. I hold my keys. I can describe the metal shape. I can feel the teeth, but I cannot tell you what the object is for. A face is a collection of features without becoming a person. A cup is a cylinder until someone says the word cup. I sort laundry by texture because sight will not finish the job. I ask people to name things before I trust my eyes. My eyes work, my language works. The bridge between seeing and knowing has broken, so the world stays full of shapes that refuse to name themselves. I learn by touch, sound, and context. Sight alone is no longer enough. Somatoparaphrenia. They ask me to move my left arm. I say that arm is not mine. It is sitting there attached to me, but it feels like someone else's limb was placed against my body. Sometimes I say it belongs to the doctor. Sometimes I say it belongs to a relative. I can see the connection at my shoulder. That does not settle the ownership question. I ask staff to take their arm away from my bed. I feel threatened by a limb that follows me everywhere. My brain has rejected the limb as part of me, so I protect myself from it, or I ignore it, as if a foreign object followed me into the room. Alien limb. My arm hangs at my side and it does not feel like mine. Not because it moves on its own like a rebel hand, because the ownership signal is missing. I look at it the way you look at a bag on a chair. Useful, nearby, not me. When someone touches it, the sensation can feel oddly distant. I can still use it if I concentrate, but without attention, it drops out of my body map. I forget a grocery bag hanging from that wrist. I bump doorways because that side no longer counts as me. The limb is present in space. It is absent in identity, body integrity dysphoria. I look at a healthy limb and feel a deep wrongness. Not pain exactly, more like a body part that should not be there. The rest of me feels complete only in a shape the world calls incomplete. I know how strange that sounds. I know the limb works. I can walk. I can write. But the mismatch between my body and my body map will not leave. I avoid mirrors that show the full limb line. I daydream about a body that finally matches the map. This is not a cosmetic preference. It is a persistent identity signal about which parts belong. People argue with me. Facts about healthy tissue do not rewrite the feeling. Pain, asymbolia. Someone burns my hand by accident. I can describe the heat. I can say where it happened. I do not pull away the way I should. The pain signal arrives without the panic that usually protects you. I watch injury with strange calm. I once kept cooking after a cut because it did not feel urgent. Blood on a towel looked like paperwork, not danger. Doctors say the sensory path and the emotional path have been split, so I can detect damage without feeling threatened by it. That sounds peaceful. It is dangerous. A body needs fear attached to pain. Mirror touch synesthesia. I see someone get tapped on the shoulder. I feel a tap on mine. I watch a person stub their toe. A ghost of that impact shows up in my own foot. It is not imagination in the casual sense. The sensation arrives whether I want it or not. Crowds are exhausting. Movies with fights are exhausting. I leave cafes early when too many elbows brush past. A hug on screen can land on my skin like a real one. My brain mirrors touch from other bodies onto my map. So empathy becomes physical, and other people's contact becomes mine. Foreign accent syndrome. I wake up after a stroke and order coffee. The barista asks where I am from. I say I have lived here my whole life, but my words come out with an accent I never had. Friends say I sound like a stranger. I'm not performing. The rhythm and melody of my speech have changed. My mouth still knows English. My identity in sound has shifted. Phone calls with old friends turn awkward fast. I rehearse simple sentences and still sound foreign to myself. Every conversation becomes a reminder that my voice is no longer the one I remember. Stiff person syndrome. I try to step off a curb. My back and legs lock like concrete. A sudden sound can trigger a spasm that freezes me in place. Anxiety makes it worse. Walking into an open space can feel unsafe because my muscles may seize without warning. A dropped plate in the kitchen can drop me into a rigid freeze. I plan routes with walls to lean on. This is not ordinary stiffness after a workout. It is a neurological condition where the body loses its normal brake on muscle activity. I can be trapped upright, afraid to move. People think I am tense on purpose. I am fighting my own motor system for basic movement. Exploding head syndrome. I am falling asleep. Then a loud bang detonates inside my head. No pain, just a violent sound like a door slam or a bomb with no blast. Sometimes there is a flash of light. I sit up, convinced something in the room exploded. Everything is quiet. My heart is racing. It can happen night after night. I check the windows, I check the hallway, then I remember the name and still cannot sleep. Doctors say the waking brain misfires during the shift into sleep. Knowing the name helps, but when it hits, my body still reacts like danger is real. These conditions are rare. They are not personality quirks or internet jokes. They are serious brain and body syndromes that need real medical care. If someone you know lives inside one of these experiences, listen carefully. Do not argue them out of what their brain is reporting. Get them professional support. Understanding the view from inside is the first step toward helping them live with it.